Boo! Did I scare y'all? That's because I'm another CCA set, and this CCA set in question is PSU Nittany Lionfish against University of Georgia Black. I am Nito, joined by my fellow commentator Chai. We're going to
Hello.
take y'all over this nice little game we got here. Got anything to say about these two teams here? Anything in particular? I mean, I know one of them's from Georgia, one of them's from
Yeah,
apparently
so
a state called Pennsylvania.
we have UGA Black, who has currently gone 4-2 against DPU Anarchy Rainbow and 1-4 against Vespa Enter Salmon. And we have Nittany Lionfish, who have gone 4-2 against Grisco Union Busters, 4-2 against Soap, and 4-0 against DPU Anarchy Rainbow. These are some pretty interesting results we have here, especially with these weapon pools as well. Nito, what do you think?
Well, both of these teams, as y'all can see, they're already going in looking for looking to keep their undefeated streak. I know Nittany Lionfish, the team from Penn State, already has a pretty good team on their back, considering how well the first Penn State team has been doing in Division 1, so PSU in Division 4, they already have something to look forward to. Then they already have a pretty good role model behind it, but you can't count out University of Georgia just because they're also 3-0. Actually, no, they haven't been 3-0 because just notice Ender Salmon. Oops. You know, but you know what? Yeah, nice little oops, right? But they actually won against Anarchy Rainbow the same way PSU has done, so I think that means they're already better than PSU. But we'll see how that plays into it here. I'm pretty sure my math here isn't mathing, but they have a chance to prove me wrong here.
And it looks like both teams' key to victories here have very big influence on team synergy here, with UGA Black saying that they like to pick fights with the buddy system, and PSU Nittany Lionfish saying that they like to focus on their team synergy. So I'm very interested to see how these team fights end up going in this set.
And team synergy, as a player myself, I can't tell you how important team synergy is. It's from the little things such as telling your team when you're about to flank or when you're about to make a big push, from coordinating specials and making sure you're able to launch the specials in a way that will enable your team. So for example, making sure you use the cooler whenever your team is about to make a huge play, or whenever you use Inkzuka because it's meta, and that's a long conversation of itself actually. But there's still a lot of things both of these teams can do here, and we're going to see how these keys to victory play out as we head into game 1, which is going to be on ship shape, or actually it's going to be tower control on ship shape cargo gun.
Bit of a tongue twister. And it looks like we've got a Charger with Respawn Punisher coming from UGA Black. I'm so curious to see how that's going to end up going for them. And a Golden Arrow Spray from PSU!
Oh man, the Golden Arrow Spray. It seems like a meme pick, but in all honesty, on a map as wide and as decently, with a decent amount of paint coverage that you can get, it's understandable why Penn State would go for the Golden Arrow Spray, because that's one, the weapons already has a lot of paint in and of itself, but you also have this special which is able to cover a lot of ground very quickly and very efficiently. But they've already gone a few players down. They've got a staggered opening here. University of Georgia seems to be on the offensive here, but Leonzi here with the splash takes a few picks. That's going to be nice there for Penn State. Might be able to get a further one here, but Deadly responds in kind.
They're definitely going to need to keep up the pressure and paint here to keep that nice hold going. Ooh, and a great pick from Stingray on Sophie. Looks like they traded out there.
It's a huge pick there because that blaster can do so much damage, especially when you're playing within a map that involves a lot of ledges such as ship shape. But you've got a couple of players behind the tower now. You're going to want to keep them in front, as they're going to find out with Stingray at front to get those few picks. But when you get wiped out, University of Georgia gets wiped out, and that's Penn State's game to lose here, as they can get all the paint now. It's actually Georgia's game to lose here, but Penn State looking pretty good here if they can keep them staggered.
Yes, PSU is going to have to keep that pressure up to keep UGA locked in their spawn here. It looks like they got the picks, though, and it looks like they're going to be able to move in here. A lot of pressure here on the left as two players go down on both sides, and this is very much going to be a firefight.
Here's Mike here using the mobility of that brush to a very effective means. They're trying to get the trying to get the charger. Ends up getting the dually sculptures instead. Mike's still looking for another pick. Might be able to get one on Stingray here. Might be able to get one on Candy, but Candy responds with a pick of their own. That's going to stop the push from PSU. Georgia sitting high and mighty here as they've got the 16 remaining leads so far. Penn State's been trying to challenge it with a push of their own, but hasn't gotten past the first checkpoint yet.
Penn State's gonna need something special here to get some pressure down the field to keep moving this tower forward.
You got one pick on DD Deadly there. That's going to be huge because once you have the charger down, that's going to cause a lot of problems. Now the other team doesn't have an anchor. You can fall victim to players such as Mike here with the brush, causing a double on Georgia. Penn State now has all the range, all the paint in the world. You notice that Georgia's currently looking at a sea of blue that might quickly turn into a sea of orange. As if Ash has anything to say about it, they've gotten one pick. Candy and Ash now having to face Lienzi there with the Splash-O-Matic who has to back up. Stingray might be able to clean that pick up though if they can get Lienzi. Lienzi responds with a pick of their own, and that's going to cause Georgia a bit of problems there in the defensive side.
Ooh, interesting crowd here from Lienzi. They definitely have to get some pressure out here. That vac is going to be taking up a lot of their ink.
Oh, Arctan here in a bit of a fight with the Golden Arrow Spray. Golden Arrow Spray not being able to take 1v1 so well, but Arctan doesn't care, gets a pick. Lienzi, they're able to clean up that 2v1, and it's all up to Stingray all on their own. If they can use that tower momentum to get them past 16 remaining, they might be able to get the lead just so close. If they can get one more player on the team.
Whoa.
There it is. That's the lead for Penn State.
What a wonderful push there from Penn State.
Got one more pick with Arctan, 2 picks with Arctan, and that's going to be enough to get them a solid lead. Now, University of Georgia has to push all the way back in order to get themselves back in the running. Arctan there with another pick. It's still anyone's game, but Penn State wants to say otherwise. It's still very close here. Both teams trading picks, but Lienzi, they're having to back up. Might have the crab ready. Might be able to pop it soon. All they have to do is sit there and let the crab do the rest of the work for them, unless Stingray has something to say about it.
UGA is going to have to put some pressure out here and get on the tower. They have 2 seconds left in the game, and it looks like it's going to end there.
Absolutely wonderful job there from Penn State, keeping their cool, making sure that lead didn't get to them too much, because I know 16 remaining seems very daunting, but in a game like Splatoon, no lead is safe, and you have to remember that as a team. Notes from the replay here. Lienzi has it to back up and actually does so because they may know that that crab is ready to go, and as long as they can pop the crab, they can keep the rest of University of Georgia at bay. Does so fairly well unless they get that little pressure from Stingray. Georgia notices the danger there, but unfortunately they don't notice it enough to get themselves back in the running. They do go down one player. That's going to be enough for Lienzi, and all they'd have to do is just hop back onto the tower and secure the lead and secure the win.
That was a very great showing from both teams there. And honestly, that Aerospray pick was kind of awesome.
Oh, absolutely. It's always awesome to see an off-meta weapon go out there and make a huge play all for themselves. And hopefully we get to see more of that once we get to Rainmaker on Inkblot Art Academy, which is going to be our game 2.
Yes, and Arctan, I believe, was the golden Aerospray there. the pressure and paint they had there was crazy. That was such a really great play from them.
Absolutely, and again with with a weapon, I mean with a map with as much turf to paint as ship shape, those picks aren't exactly off meta until and you actually get to enable it a little bit more once you have a comp like what Penn State brought out to enable these picks to do what they're able to do at their full potential.
All right, looks like we're going into the next game.
Next game, which is going to be game 2, that's going to be on Rainmaker on Inkbot Art Academy. Both teams Penn State looking to keep their lead strong. University of Georgia, though, has been doing so solidly in game 1. We're going to see what they can bring in game 2.
It looks like they're keeping DD on that Respawn Punisher Charger.
Respawn Punisher Charge, that's going to be a classic that's going to be a classic build you're going to see on most Chargers. And that's actually going to be a classic move there that you can see from Stingray. Stingray opting for the Tri-Slosher, which is very similar in nature to the Blaster, because you're still able to cover ledges fairly well with the Tri-Slosher. And not only that, you also get Fizzy Bombs with this Tri-Nouveau.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Tri-Nouveau is a very strong pick on this map with how flat some of the areas are, and it makes it really easy for teams to take control of their stacks and hold that pressure really well.
Speaking of pressure, Ash there forcing Arc-10 to use the Booyah Bomb. The Booyah Bomb being launched, I think that's going to give a bit more paint to Penn State. Arc-10 looking for another pick. You see 3 players currently on UGA's side. Arc-10's going to be able to push that Rainmaker though. Get them just ever so closer to the final pedestal. But Big Mike trying to sneak themselves around. It might be BG Mike, but I'm going to call him Big Mike for now because I think Big Mike's a really cool name. And Big Mike gets traded for Stingray. Ash able to clean that up well.
Mm-hmm. It looks like PSU is still keeping that push going though. Picking up the Rainmaker and trying to take it a little bit further in. And it looks like Lianzi's still in bats.
Yeah, Lianzi's doing a good job there, and that's actually what you want to do. Lianzi's starting to serve that skirmisher role very well. You don't want to take fights necessarily, but you still want to make sure you're causing a disruption on the side of University of Georgia. You notice that they've got 3 players stacked up. They're trying to get that so that they can enable Big Mike with the brush to try to make a move, but it's not working out too well as University of Georgia is able to swim right towards this first checkpoint, getting themselves up to 71 remaining. That's going to make their next pushes even easier.
Yes, but UGA Black can easily make a good push here if they keep the pressure up on their side. But it looks like one of their players goes down and they only have 1 in mid. Now 2 with the Entry coming in here. And they get a pick on Lianzi.
And Stingray looking for a second pick on Big Mike over here. Mike though responds in kind. That's a pick from Mike on Stingray. The Tri-Slosher down. Might be able to get 2. That's 2. But the bomb takes out takes out Mike. Candy forced to jump out. That's going to be Sophie taking the Rainmaker for Penn State as Penn State looks to increase their lead ever so more as I try to find the words to continue this sentence.
Yes, it looks like Big Mike gets a pick on Candy in their spawn, putting out a lot of pressure on those sides. But looks like Georgia is going to also be having DD pull out the vac here and try to aim it at the Rainmaker, but the Rainmaker keeps going.
Look at Arc-10. Look at Arc-10 to the radius screen, taking a fight with Ash, popping the Rainmaker. They've got Stingray around him, waiting for the drop, but Stingray gets the pick, not quite in time though. Penn State got themselves up to 37 points remaining. Stingray now with the cooler. They're going to try to make their moves. They're going to want to make their moves because Penn State currently has them looking forward to a sea of blue yet again. There's 2 picks from Stingray, 3 down for Penn State as University of Georgia tries to go ever so further. Lianzi though puts a stop to that push.
Yes, it looks like there's a firefight happening down there in Pit, and it looks like Georgia has won that. They're gonna need to make something off of this here. And it looks like they're popping the Zuka and get a pick on Sophie, and it looks like they're gonna be able to move in here. And Mike goes down, Lianzi goes down, let's see the paint come out here, and they're gonna get lead!
Look at that, the way they're able to play as a team so cohesively. they were able to make that push. Every single one of them going in and almost like a diamond formation, which I don't know if that was intentional, but it worked out very well as they got up to 13 points remaining. Penn State now has to find a response. It's all up to Lianzi and Stingray going into a 1v1 here. Lianzi with the high ground, Stingray being forced to drop back as that crab is going to cause a lot of trouble for them, but Stingray luckily has a lot of paint to drop back on. And then it's going to be all up to University of Georgia to find a response to what Penn State has been able to put to the table thus far. Or actually, Penn State to find a response. University of Georgia has to just sit there and make sure they don't let Penn State get as far as they need to.
Yes, all they really need to be doing here is building specials and getting some paint on the field here just to make sure that PSU doesn't have as many options for getting in here. And it looks like they need to be watching their right here as PSU is pushing it up. They have a vac up on UGA Black side of things. That is going to shut them down, and that's going to be the game.
Notice how University of Georgia still has a lot of players on their plat. They don't want to push so far back to where they just let Penn State have their way. But they want to stay in their base just so they can wait for Penn State to make one of those few mistakes, because they know Penn State has to make the push of a lifetime here. And so in a mode of desperation like that, as a player, you're tempted to make big plays. And as you'll see here, Big Mike and Arctan. Arctan takes the Booyah Bomb, could have held onto it a little bit more, because you see, you're gathering all those players to one side, but Arctan decides we're going to pop it quickly, and we're just going to make a move and see what we can do with it. Fortunately, it doesn't work out too well for Penn State, but University of Georgia holding on strong, and as such, they were able to hold on to their lead.
Yeah, and DD using their vac towards the end of that countdown was incredibly important, with UGA saving their specials to make sure that they wouldn't get that overtime push, which is such a great play for them.
So we mentioned earlier how one of the keys to success for University of Georgia was to make sure they don't break on defense. They're doing a pretty good job of it so far, and University of Georgia showed that they can do exactly that in Game 2. We're going to head on to Game 3 here, but Penn State and what I think they can do here, especially with how Arctan is using the golden arrow sprays, they can use that golden arrow spray and coordinate their specials with the brush or the splash to make sure they can enable the brush or the splash to make those big plays. Because I know as long as they can get Big Mike, or as long as they can get Lianzi to make some big distractions, even like that, that's going to enable them to just completely disrupt University of Georgia and put them back in a defensive dilemma.
I agree with you on that, Nito. Alright, and I'm very curious to see how our next game goes here, as it looks like we are on Clamblitz Museum. Interesting map coming up here.
So last match, our last tower control match, which is going to be game 1 on Ship Shape, I mentioned how when you have a map with as much turf as Ship Shape, you have a lot of paint or coverage you can take advantage of. Museum's going to be the same case, and I think this where Penn State can turn it around and kind of flip the script on University of Georgia. Maybe disrupt their defenses a little bit more, because again, when you have all that paint, there's a lot more opportunities for you to do so.
Yes, and I think that that arrow spray or brush pick from one of those teams will be a very interesting choice here on this map.
And we're going to see what their choices are as we head into Game 3, which is going to be Clamblitz on Museum de Alfonzino. There's going to be a snipe rider there. That gives them a bit more of a cooler from the University of Georgia. Penn State actually opts for the vanilla Tri-Slosher, which is going to be that inkjet. Maybe to give them a little bit more cover. I think what Arctan's looking for here is to just try to cover their teammates. Maybe not give them the Booyah Bomb, but instead give them just a little bit more coverage, give them perhaps some more chip damage to look forward to.
It looks like UGA is running comeback, which means that both their custom dualies and their Wiper Deco may be playing a bit more aggressive and feedy here, which may be the thing UGA can use here to get in. And it looks like they can take 2 down with the missiles.
Oh man, missiles. It's starting to look like Splatoon 2 all over again. And they've actually got 2 players down. Penn State looking like they're in a lot of trouble. University of Georgia has the opportunity to make a push here. Do they have the clams to follow it up, though? Yes, they do. They've got a couple at their disposal, up to 71 remaining. A solid push to begin with in the first minute. But Penn State with a solid wipeout in response. They've got a lot of turf to look forward to and a lot of paint to cover it up. We're going to see how they respond to this push very quickly here.
Yeah, it's looking like they have a great start here at taking control of that middle area. Stingray trying to do something here with the wiper, but it looks like they're going to have to back up here. And an inkjet coming out from Arc10. Let's see if they can get some picks here with this.
And they get a pick on Stingray? Yeah, they did get one pick on Stingray. Lienzi now trying to look for that flank around the block. If they can do that, Big Mike now with the Zipcaster on deck. If they can pop that, that is going to make that disruption they've been looking for. There's the pop. Can they get Ash? It's going to be huge if they're able to do so. There's Ash down. Can they get the anchor? Not the timer runs out for them, but they do get the power clam in. They've got a few more to respond with. That's going to be a huge push for Penn State as University of Georgia looks to give Penn State a response of their own.
Yes, it looks like Penn State picked up their pity clam. So I wonder if they're preparing for another push here. It doesn't look like they have any specials online just yet, so maybe they're waiting to get some paint down before making some sort of push here. And it looks like we have Tri-Strikes coming out from the splash, and it looks like we're going to be seeing some sort of push coming in here. Arcton popping Jet again, but gets picked! DD getting a nice solid pick on that Inkjet here, and it looks like they're going to get a lot of pressure down here and take 2 down from PSU Lionfish.
Penn State with the cooler at the ready. But do they notice the Stingray making a move there? Yes, they do. Arc10 able to clean that up with a Tri-Slosher. The heavy edit is down now. So that's the anchor gone. That's Arc10 gone now. Candy able to stop whatever Arc10 was up to there. Looking a little nefarious there on the ramp. But there's University of Georgia looking to make a push of their own. If they can get that Snipe Rider with the cooler ready, that can give them a little bit more of a push, but they need to stop Arcton first, and they do.
I feel like Arcton should have played a little bit more safer there and should have painted a little bit more, but I think that Sophie can hold that ground while PSU tries to get back in here. And Sophie goes down. Arcton having to put up some great fights here, and he got 2 down. Can they keep the pressure up here?
Oh, they most certainly can. Penn State has to keep this going because otherwise University of Georgia can just extend their lead, make it even harder for Penn State to come back. They're already looking at Penn State having to hold on to their lead here. I think University of Georgia just has to keep going, keep up the offensive pressure. They're going to be able to do so with those bombs. The missiles. They're able to take down Arc10. DD Deadly sneaks in the power clam. Stingray, they're forced to push back. It's all up to Ash, who now has a super clam. Has to be able to make that push if they can. If that super clam is going to give them the lead, if they're able to sink it in, then they do.
What a great play from Ash there. They have the lead now, and UGA is going to have to put up a great defense here.
Yes, they do. I mean, this is Arctown we're talking about. They've been able to disrupt the University of Georgia defense, but University of Georgia able to hold on for now as they've been needing to do so. I mean, University of Georgia has been holding on, and I think they're going to need to do it a little bit more. One, because Penn State has some specials and they're ready to pop, and look at how many clams they have, but that's quickly going to be shut down. Candy might be able to make it 3, but they're gonna push themselves back. University of Georgia holding strong here.
What a great play from DD there with that double with the pencil there. And it looks like we're counting down to 9 seconds left. Sophie has to hold on to that clam. They can go for their pity right now, but it's going to be definitely a bit of a trip if that goes down.
They do have 14 clams already. They do have 2 picks now on University of Georgia. Big Mike now with the Zipcaster. They're going to try to disrupt it yet again. That's what they've been trying to do all game. But University of Georgia standing strong for now. Lienzi, can they pop the ink strikes? Yes, they do. That's 3 players down. Sophie looking like it's going to be the heavy edit versus 1, but it's not enough. The timer goes out. University of Georgia holding strong.
Yes, that pity clam and their spawn would have helped them out a lot there, and having that backup option there once that clam went down. but they still put up a really great fight. Both teams having a ton of pressure on the field. It just came down to the fact that UGA just had a slightly stronger push.
Slightly stronger push indeed, and I mean, it's also the fact that they had a defense there that just stands strong the entire time. Again, keys to victory. We're going to mention it over and over again because University of Georgia has been holding on to that key for so long. You look at this replay here, Big Mike not able to do as much as they would have wanted to do. Arctan trying to do the same thing, make a disruption, but DD Deadly quickly shuts that down. And as soon as they get Lianzi down, that's also enough to slow them down. Sophie just doesn't have the clamps necessary to make the push there. They don't have any power clamps, and when you're that close to overtime, clam economy is going to be important throughout the whole game, but especially in overtime when you need to make a last resort push like that, you need to make sure you keep those clams ready.
Yeah, very interesting game right there with that. Very close game too, in fact. Alright, looks like our next map is going to be... Sorry, I was looking at the wrong map list. It looks like it's gonna be Zones on Flounder Heights. I should have just looked at the stream. But this is one of my least favorite maps in the game, on a personal opinion. But I think that'll be very interesting to see these teams fight it out on this map, especially with its, I forgot what the word was. Is it vertical or horizontal?
Firstly, we're going to need to talk after the stream because of that whole Flounder Zones comment. I'm kidding. But anyway, other thing we got here is that Flounder Heights, Penn State no longer has the sort of turf advantage that they would want. They already had with the previous maps. Flounder Zones is going to be a bit tougher for them to manage, and I think this is still one that Stingray can hold on to here. If they use an extra respawn with a brush of their own, wow, okay, I was expecting them to keep with the Tri-Slosher or the Blast here. That's going to be a brush niveau on their side, but Arctan holds onto the Tri-Slosher. That's going to be a huge pick for them.
Yes, I'm very curious to see how these weapon comp pools are going to work on this map. Looks like both teams have looks like Lianzi goes down, which is going to be pretty rough for them as Splash is one of their best painting weapons on this comp. But Arctan's keeping up a lot of pressure here in mid. Trying to go for a pick at some point here. And it looks like they're going to get two!
Arctan, look at that. That's a double with the assist. That may have been an assist from Arctan. That's still 2 down. That might be 3. That's 4. That's a delayed wipe for University of Georgia. Penn State looking as strong as ever. If this is a Flounder Zones game, you have to watch out for the Tri-Sloshers, and Arctan is doing so well with the Tri-Sloshers so far, but DD Deadly able to stop it before it gets any worse for University of Georgia as they're able to recapture their own zone, and before losing it, but recapturing it yet again. There's still 1 player, or 2 players now from Penn State that have to watch out for. The Tri-Strikes there, coming out to try to get more paint on the ground. The Rain there also working to get more paint on the ground. If they can capture the zone, they can at least give Penn State that penalty points, and they do.
Yes, that Rain gave them that nice paint over of zone. And it looks like UGA is going to be having to put some hold down here to get some points down on the board.
They do get a few more points on the board. That's going to be courtesy of Stingray getting this flank on Arctan. Stingray now looking for another flank, see if they can get a pick on Lienz or even Sophie there, but being forced to back up ultimately even jumps out. DD Deadly left to zone coverage, trying to keep it for University of Georgia, and they do get 3 picks now. It's all up to Ash to see if they can get Big Mike down now, because with the brush it could be a dangerous 1v1 to take, but Ash has the range with the dually sculptures and the rolls as well to back it up. Big Mike there being left to try to get some more paint down on the ground, place some beacons, make sure they have what they need to get their team back if they need to do so.
It looks like PSU Lionfish are just heading straight for the zone, ignoring the flanks, just trying to get back on there to get control back, and it looks like they may have a shot here at that. Arctan is putting a lot of pressure down here on Ash in regards to that custom dualies, and it looks like PSU is trying to find their way back in.
And Penn State might have it, but DD Deadly with the Snipe Rider. Awesome pick there on Lianzi to stop it. Can they get Big Mike as well? If they can get Big Mike, that's going to be a huge stop on defense for Georgia, and they do. But now they need to watch for that cooler push, because now you have 3 players on the cooler. DD Deadly left to their own devices at this point. Lianzi going to a fight with DD Deadly. Ash coming to the rescue, and they do get the pick on Lianzi. Huge stop there by University of Georgia for what could have been very dangerous for them as Penn State looks to keep this push going, or at least whatever they can get at that push. R10 going down for the Ink Storm. This is going to be University of Georgia that might be able to get both zones back and even get the double to complement it.
Yes, I really would like to see PSU put some pressure out here and get that push in, but it looks like Lianzi is going to have to back up here as UGA Black retakes that zone. This has been definitely a bit of a firefight here in regards to that. And it looks like Stingray may get the pick here on Arcton. And it looks like PSU is trying to get jumps back in here to rush that zone again.
Speaking of rushing, Lianzi goes for an attempted rush there. Not quite enough as they're able to stop it fairly quickly. Sophie left to their own devices trying to get another pick. Arctan, they have to watch out for Arctan. University of Georgia has to watch out, and they pick him just in time. Keeps the control of the zone. They still need to look towards getting the lead, but they do have three players down now on Penn State. But Georgia goes 2 players down, or at least Georgia now with the lead. Georgia has the lead. They need to hold on to the lead because Penn State is so close to it. As long as they can get rid of these penalty boys and start getting some more points on the board, they should be able to do just that. But Penn State gets control of both zones.
Looks like UGA Black is going to have to back up here while Penn State is trying to get control of those zones to get some pressure down and some points down to get that penalty as well down.
Working on whittling it down just ever so slightly. There goes the trip strikes. Ooh, that's going to be a dangerous spot for Katie to pop those, but they do get 1 pick. That's actually 3 players down for Penn State. University of Georgia's game to lose now as we head into 5 seconds remaining. This may not even go into overtime because the University of Georgia has held on to both zones. Even with losing control of one, they're able to keep on to the lead, and it's now match point for Georgia as they're up 3-1 against Penn State.
Yes, it looks like Penn State just had a very hard time sticking together there, getting back in, because University of Georgia was able to disrupt them so much with those ink jets and storms and the pressure from their AoE weapons.
I think Georgia, at this point, they must definitely know that as long as they can keep Arctan, Lianzi, and Sophie, because they're all they're trying to do is get themselves in enemy territory, disrupt that offense, make sure they can at least get the anchor. But the problem is that all of them are doing it in their own individual pushes. The problem with that is that you don't have the same amount of coordination or the same amount of synergy that you would have liked. And as a result, with the way University of Georgia has been able to play defense so well, they can quickly shut down anything Penn State has to offer. And that way, University of Georgia holds on strong despite what Penn State's being able to threaten them with.
Indeed. And it looks like our next game is going to be on one of my favorites, not mode-wise, but Tower Control Hagglefish. This is going to be a very interesting map for both teams because both teams are going to need a lot of paint here, and they're also very good for backlines, which means we may be seeing that charger again from UGA.
Interestingly enough, I think Penn State might be making a swap here. Actually, no, one of them's going to back out, but I think as long as Penn State keeps with their strategy, and that's actually they can keep trying to disrupt the anchors and disrupt the defense that University of Georgia has. Maybe it's their only option here, but as long as they can coordinate them, because I see what they're trying to do with Arctan's inkjet. As long as they can get someone under that inkjet to maybe even protect it, they can keep being as disruptive as they were in game 1. But University of Georgia, I think they're doing very well so far. Again, their key to victory was to just hold on to defense and hold and stay strong. They've been doing so well in that so far, and really that's really just all they need to stick to.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if Penn State can make a really strong comeback here, and I have faith that they can do that. If there is picks like, I think people underplay how good trip strikes are, especially with how much pressure they can output on backlines. And I'd really love to see their Neo Splash come back in here and put some pressure down on Didi on that back line.
And speaking of pressure, I think I've been thinking about it so far because I know the first thing I noticed with most top level players is that as long as they can coordinate these pushes, maybe it's not as far as the ends of like weapon comps and what they're able to pick, but even just in terms of team synergy, it's as easy as saying, I'm going to go for a flank, I might need some guy helping me. And as long as Penn State's able to do that with, say, a bomb or a special, I noticed Arctan going with the vanilla try. There are options there might be to place a toxic mist in front of, say, the Lianzi or Sophie if they make one of those pushes. But as long as they can do this, it's those small things that can lead to a lot in terms of coordination. As long as they can coordinate all those small things, communicate these moves, there's so much that this team can do to disrupt University of Georgia.
Indeed. I'm very curious to see how this map runs here, because these are very, depending on how much pressure a team can output, TC Haggle can be very snowbally. But you've also had I've also seen some very amazing comebacks on these maps as well, so it'll be a very interesting map to see here.
Yeah, that's one thing I mentioned in the first game. Remember, no lead is safe in Splatoon. This game is so fast-paced to where leads as big as 16 remaining can be so volatile. And we're going to see if that comes into play as we head into Game 5, which is going to be match point for University of Georgia, looking to close this one out, but Penn State looking to keep themselves in the fight.
Yes, and it looks like Didi's going to be running that respawn Punisher again. Let's see if they're going to get some great benefits off of that. But I also love that pick of the gal from Sophie. Sorry about that. I think the Kraken would be very interesting here to put that pressure out there on these front lines.
Absolutely no problems at all. There's a lot of squids, a lot of octolings, and they're using weapons and playing the game we all know as Splatoon. And speaking of squids, here comes Arctan from the back, popping a Booyah Bomb to see what they can do with the Booyah Bomb. But Penn State able to clear fast 90 remaining to see if they can head towards the first checkpoint. They've gone 2 players down though, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle there. Lianzi trying to make a backup there. Stingray able to clean that up. That's still 2 players down. And actually, you see Arctan, they're making another push. Backs up wisely so as they're about to face. They were going to face a 2v1 there, but it's going to be a neutral battle from here on as University of Georgia looks to inch themselves closer to that lead.
And Lianzi escapes that vac, but sadly gets punished by Ash. And it looks like UGA is just trying to put up a defensive push here. That Kraken backing up, but sadly getting caught.
Yeah, it's a tough move to make there if you're trying to make that Kraken work for y'all. Unfortunately, you still have Arctan though to look forward to. He's able to get a pick. Arctan doing so well here with these solo plays, but Ash is able to clean that up. They still have 2 players down now with a few just respawning. Here comes Big Mike with the brush, Lianzi and Toe. And if you see both of these players start to work around one another, keep themselves in the same space, but now University of Georgia has their number, responds with a wipeout on Penn State. University of Georgia has been doing fairly well with the wipeouts here, stopping big pushes from Penn State. However, they need to find the offensive pushes as well, because they're currently looking at 98 remaining. They currently get past that, but they need to get towards that first checkpoint if they want to give Penn State a bit of trouble.
Yes, it looks like Didi is popping back again here, and it looks like Arctan is going for another flank, but UGA is prepared for it. And it looks like UGA is going to start making some momentum here as one of their players goes down. And it looks like Lianzi's going to have to back up here with Crab, but they're still getting some pressure down here. PSU is going to have to take control of their ramp here to get back in. Stingray going fully in here to see what they can do.
They use Stingray there in a sort of way, the same way Penn State's trying to use Arctan, in that they're trying to just send them in, see what they can do alone. But it seems not to work out too well as they also lose Didi, Deadly, and Candy. Now Penn State has the opportunity to respond. University of Georgia puts themselves in a favorable position because they've covered checkpoint 1, something Penn State hasn't been able to do yet. But with Leonte popping Crab, hasn't quite been able to get the pick they need. In fact, they get picked off. Sophie gets picked off on the 96 Deco. Big Mike left to their own devices next to that one pillow. Big Mike goes down. The University of Georgia holding strong as they've been able to do all set. And it looks like it's going to be University of Georgia's game to lose from here.
I say that we don't give up on Penn State right now. It looks like they have a decent amount of pressure and paint they can output here, and it looks like Leonte goes for a pick and trades with Candy. A pick on a splatter shot is a very important one, and they can definitely push off this. But it looks like 2 of their members go down, 3 of their members go down. Sophie's trying to make something out of this, but I think there's just not enough paint on the board. They do get a pick on Ash, though, but they sadly lose to the end try.
Yeah, unfortunately, with tracker pushes like that, it's only so much you can take away from it because they got 1 pick with the Kraken, but they're able to back that up with a triple on University of Georgia. They might be able to clear the lead here if they can get themselves ever so closely. Look at how they're even able to pick their fights one by one. Arctan goes down, and as soon as they do that, they focus on another player. Here comes Big Mike, though. Big Mike with a double. That could be huge for Penn State if they can get Arctan taken down. Diddy Denley just barely misses it. Penn State goes to get the lead. Arctan there holds onto the tower just long enough, and Arctan makes sure everyone knows Penn State is still in this one.
Yes, it looks like they've had a really great push there. They got control of that ramp and just held space long enough to get that lead. It looks like UGA Black's gonna have to follow suit in a similar way. Candy desperation striking tower to get some paint down on the board here. They have Booyah Bomb ready and they're holding that onto the tower. It looks like PSU gets this game in a quick reverse sweep of that game.
Oh man, and speak of reverse sweep, they're currently up. They've got 3-2 now. University of Georgia still in the lead, but Penn State looking as convincing as ever. They can reverse sweep this one. Takes at least 1 game back. And now you have to start to wonder, how does the University of Georgia respond? They're probably thinking right now, and I've been here as a player thinking, you've got this big of a lead, but now that the other team is starting to look like they can sneak in a reverse sweep, you have to think to yourselves, what are we doing wrong? You can't overthink it, though, because as soon as you start overthinking things, now you start to make more adjustments than you might have to do. I think University of Georgia, as long as they can hold strong here, because they were looking so strong throughout the rest of the matchup, that if they can keep doing what they've been doing so well, can still find themselves winning this set. But Penn State, look at how well they've been able to do with all of these disruptions. They've been making these solo disruptions work, and I think that's very nice of them to do. That's very cool to watch.
Yes, that disruption on Didi, and getting them to drop down from elbow there after they got 2 picks on the tower, but them falling off of that elbow there, and PSU pushing off of that, was able to get them that lead there. I think it's going to be incredibly important for PSU from this point forward to continue disrupting DDD's charger.
Interestingly enough, they swap out Arctan for F equals M. I stopped taking math after high school, but
I'm just going to call it FMA.
FMA, that's right, just like my favorite anime of all time. But speaking of Splatoon, which is what we were playing to begin with, but that's going to be heading into Game 6. It's going to be Rainmaker on Crablet Capital. Once again, the University of Georgia looking to close this one out, but Penn State has the opportunity to tie it here.
All right. I'm very curious to see if Penn State can make a crazy comeback here. But also, UGA can easily finish this game out as well. So we will see how this game goes going into this one. Crab Leg's a very interesting map because it has, especially on Rainmaker, because a game could switch over very, very fast on this map.
You know, someone in chat mentioned this, but I don't normally look at chat, but I just realized that this is a whole physics lesson. Force equals mass times acceleration. Thanks for taking me back to physics class. I didn't want to be taken back to a math class. I don't like math. You can't do this to me. We're gonna head into Game 6.
There's a reason why I'm a studio art major.
There's a reason why I'm looking to get into broadcasting. Oh man, this is and anyway, so Rainmaker Crablick, they're actually swapping in FMA because I know from what I've seen so far, FMA is a Clash Blaster main. So this could be a very interesting pick, especially with a map that has a lot of greats on their side. Because if you notice with Crablick, there's a lot of greats to where people can push in with. So I want to see how this plays out, how this pick plays out here.
Yes, I'm very curious to see what FMA can do on the field here. Oh, looking at their weapon pool too, it is, looks like we may be seeing a Clash Blaster.
Yeah, that Clash Blaster with those greats, there's a lot you can do with Clash Blaster, and that's something. We might even see Stingray come out with their own blaster, which I wouldn't blame them because again, with all the greats and with all the open space that's available on Crableg, there's so much you can do with those blaster type weapons that I'm waiting to see how Penn State brings that to the table and how maybe University of Georgia is able to apply that to the defense they've been able to hold on to so well here.
Yes, I would love to see some very interesting AoE picks in regards to buckets and blasters, or maybe even brushes. I think that these are some really great maps for these.
Speaking of which, we're going to see those weapon comps come out here at University of Georgia, opting for most of the similar stuff they've been able to work. And that's actually the Clash Blaster we were looking forward to. They're going with an almost completely short-range comp, which means you're going to see a lot of aggression there. And that's why those beacons from Big Mike are going to come in useful here, because once you have all these short-range weapons, you can pull off very sneaky picks here, or very sneaky plays here with those short-range weapons, as long as you can place those beacons to your advantage. But it's looking not too good here for Penn State as University of Georgia opens up with a double.
PSU is gonna have to build some specials here and some paint. Looks like as they're taking it left here, they're gonna need to keep that pressure up. But Mike puts that 2 picks out and knocks out the Rainmaker carrier. PSU is gonna have the ability to take more control of mid here, but they're gonna have to watch for UGA rebuilding their forces on the left of the map.
And when you have all of those players from University of Georgia, they need to send in the Clash Blaster because that's a huge opportunity for them. That's a double that they have at their disposal. If they can play their cards right, there's Ash taken down. There's one more player they can take advantage of. If they can take down that spotter shot there, that could be huge. But Candy able to respond. And someone responds against Candy. There's Lianzi with the splash. Wonderful stuff here. We've got back-to-back-to-backs going on with the picks. Lianzi there, and you see how the wall there affects the Inkvac launch. Just hits the wall, not quite able to do what they've been wanting it to do against Penn State. Stingray though, able to sneak it by 1 pick against Sophie. They no longer have Cooler for now, but Penn State has that 1 pedestal checkpoint to look forward to.
PSU taking down Candy. Looks like they have a lot of pressure here. As long as they can keep that pressure up and protect their Rainmaker, who dropped, they're going to have to get them back in there to keep that push going. And it looks like FMA is going to pop their Zuka, and it looks like Mike is going to be pushing in here. If they can get Mike in there, they could get some crazy disruption here. And it looks like FMA gets the chip damage down, and Candy goes down, but it looks like they weren't watching the Rainmaker, and it popped and killed FMA.
Oh my goodness, I was about to say, man, look at Sophie there at the bottom of your screen, because that's Sophie able to cause even more disruptions. Again, I think they're starting to realize that as long as they can coordinate these flanks from both sides, they can do a lot to disrupt what University of Georgia has been able to do so well. And they have been doing it fairly well here. They've got 32 points remaining. University of Georgia, they've been able to do so well on defense that once they get on an offensive battle here, and once they realize they need to make the big pushes now, there's just not much they can respond because Penn State keeps disrupting them over and over. Once they can take care of University of Georgia's defense, there's not much University of Georgia's been going to be able to do. As we head past the halfway point, they're going to be able to take the first pedestal. We're going to see what they're going to be able to do there. Watch Sophie there. Watch Big Mike now trying to sneak in the pick. Big Mike hasn't fallen in yet, but Lianzi there trying to stop the pedestal and trying to stop the Rainmaker from going any further.
Ooh, and Didi is able to push that Rainmaker past the check and get a little further in, but it looks like Lionfish still have the lead. But it looks like Stingray is going to rush it up to the check. They get it really far in there. PSU Lionfish are going to have to make an insane push to get this game back in their favor.
Oh, things are looking dangerous for the University of Georgia, but they hold strong, and they've been holding strong multiple times during this whole set. It is working out well for them now as they just need to hold on to this lead with a minute 20 left on the clock. 6 points remaining. That's a tall order for Penn State, even with how well they've been able to do so far. But remember, no lead and it's safe in the game of Splatoon. There's still so much disruption here that Penn State can look forward to. Sophie there, watch Sophie with the end zap. If they can take care of that ink vac, this could be huge for Penn State. They've got 2 players down now for the University of Georgia. Penn State has a huge opportunity here.
And 3 go down with Candy going down with that Zuka. They really need to be careful here. It looks like the N-Try goes down as well. Big Mike's got to keep up the pressure here, and Sophie is going to have to keep moving. They're getting jumps in here. They're going to have to be careful to make sure not to go down to DD here. And it looks like PSU is making a desperation push here. They have 30 seconds left on the clock. They needed to be careful here. They got to wipe.
That's a huge wipeout for the University of Georgia, because now all they have to do here is just sit back with the Rainmaker. This is the equivalent of kneeling in football, in that all you have to do is just sit there, hold the Rainmaker. Candy's doing a very good job of that so far. And this is going to be it for University of Georgia. Once Penn State thought they could sneak in a few picks and thought they could sneak in a miracle, or not even a miracle, but a huge reverse sweep, University of Georgia holding strong as they've been able to do all set, and it proves to pay them dividends as they win the set 4-2 against Penn State.
Yes, but I think it's good to say that Penn State also held a great games here and put up a really good fight for UGA.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been watching it so far, looking for Penn State to see, because they've been figuring it out throughout the entire set. They know that as long as they can send Big Mike and R10 in there and all the players that have been able to cause those disruptions for them. I noticed Sophie going for the flanks and maybe Big Mike responding in kind, even placing down some beacons because they know that's a huge flank spot for watching University of Georgia's tendencies. They've been able to do pretty well here and respond to what University of Georgia's been doing. But again, University of Georgia holding strong. All they needed to win the set here.
Right, and I'm wondering if we're going to see a play all 7 here.
We absolutely are, which is awesome because that was going to be, well, it is just one more game, but now I still want to see what both teams bring to the table. As if this is the first time watching CCA, you have to know that play all 7 is basically a CCA tradition at this point. I mean, we're going to see play all 7s all the time. So, not surprised that we're going to see this, but now it's time to see Clam Blitz on Barnacle and Dime, or as you might see on another certain stream server, Barneasel and Dime.
Barneasel and Dime?
It's a long story, and this long story starts with a typo, and I think you might be able to figure things out from there.
I see.
Fun stuff.
Yes, Barnacle and Dime has been a very fun map, in my opinion, within the past few months. It is within the past few months in this game's meta. Obviously, Zuka has made it very much a firefight in mid a lot of times, but I think that it has a lot of very interesting comeback stories and a lot of interesting picks in regards to what people bring out in this map.
Yeah, and actually, they're going to keep R10 out, so I was hoping we'd see, like, Silver Arrow Spray or something silly. But I think as long as you keep the Clash Blaster, there's still room for silliness here. But, I mean, there's still something to take away from here, because I think Penn State, what they're going to keep working on is make sure they can keep those disruptions going. Because remember, there's still one more week for them to look forward to, and actually, I'm not sure how far Penn State is into the season. So either way, there's at least one more match to look forward to. So there's still one more match to play, and there's still a lot they can learn from this one game alone.
Indeed. Let's see what we're going to be seeing here.
Barnacle and Dime. One of the best places to go Not the best mall to go to, but apparently one of the best maps to go to. Ooh, Luna
A
Blaster.
Luna Blaster. And it looks like FMA's filling in for that golden arrow spray.
Oh, okay. Okay, you know what? Fine. I still wanted to see the golden arrow sprayers, and there's a lot of special charge. I wonder if that's a full build. I wonder if that's just 3 pures, because that would be really funny to look at. But look at Big Mike here to the left of your screen now, looking for another pick. Actually gets 3 picks off the rip there. Might be able to get one on Candy. Is able to do so. Big Mike, huge push here. This is what Penn State has been looking forward to doing. This is what Penn State is able to do in the first minute of the matchup. Great disruption here from Big Mike.
Yes, and it looks like Sophie's gonna get the power clam into the basket here, and Lianzi is gonna be following up with some clams here. FMA following up as well, and it looks like they're gonna drop down from that left perch area, so they have less control of that area, so they're going to need to be a little bit more careful here. And Stingray gets the pick on Big Mike, and it looks like they're going to be able to make some pushback here. But it looks like Lianzi's going to pop Crab, which means the push isn't over just yet, even though the basket is closed. PSU is going to have to build some clams here, though, to make anything off of that.
One of the most important things about Clam Blitz is, surprisingly enough, clam economy. So you gotta make sure you keep more clams at the ready, but it looks like they have a decent lead here to where they have 41 remaining, maybe a few penalty points. But look at how much paint Penn State's been able to put down. University of Georgia has a lot of paint to cover if they want to get into Penn State territory. And that's actually 2 players down for University of Georgia. Lianzi there with the splash, I believe, making those 2 picks against Georgia. And Georgia's still looking for that response. I think that's FMA popping that sprinkler. That's been able to work out pretty well for them as well, making sure to get just little bits of paint down.
Yes, and it looks like the Booyah Bomb is going to give them some pressure here, but it looks like PSU can't really get in here because of Ash and the Luna Blaster putting out a lot of really good forward pressure. Big Mike gets a pick on Stingray and is trying to make something off of that, but Ash, it looks like they've already walled them out there, and they've gotten taken out.
Alright, we're looking at 2 players now on the left side, actually middle of your screen now. That's Sophie that goes down. Ash left, the only one left alive. It's all up to FMA and Big Mike to see what they can do here. They're going to have to move around and see what kind of picks they can get on DD Deadly. DD Deadly is so far the first one in the group. But again, look at how much paint Penn State, or the University of Georgia has to cover. If they want to get into Penn State, Penn State territory, they've been held back so far.
Yes, and it looks like their Booyah Bomb's gonna be coming back out again, but Stingray sharking here, waiting to get some pressure in here. And it looks like they're gonna get the picks.
Has a huge picks there, because again, they need to get into territory. They're gonna get into Penn State enemy territory, and they're able to do so if they can keep up those picks. Stingray though goes down. Sophie been able to clear that 1v1. Sophie has a few more picks to look forward to. Ash goes down. One more player in front of them. Candy able to stay alive. But Candy now having to look towards Big Mike if Big Mike can sneak in. Big Mike is currently hesitating just a little bit because I know they have a lot to look forward to. That's 3 players. You might be looking at directly at a 3v1. But Lianzi there might be able to get a few more picks. Not quite enough. Actually, 3 players. That's a wipe for University of Georgia.
What a great stamp there. And it looks like Didi's gonna be... Oh, Didi gets taken out by Sophie! And looks like Ash is trying to desperately get back in there to get that power clam. And it looks like they barely missed it, but were able to grab it to hold it on a little bit longer. And Candy, it looks like they're going to dive for it. They're going to get it in. It looks like they're going to get it in the basket. Sophie's having a hard time there. It looks like they ran out of paint for a second there. And they're trying to pick up those clams so that UGA can't make anything off of that push.
Oh no, the clams were right next to the basket, making it even harder for University of Georgia to push in and grab a few more clams to supplement that push. But it looks like they might be able to get another push if they can get Big Mike down with the stiff. Not enough. Stingray has to go down to Big Mike. I actually get another power clam and down to 68 remaining. They have 8 clams ready. Now it's down to 5. Now it's down to 0 as Penn State gets a wipe on Georgia.
Yes, and it looks like Georgia is already going to be struggling with getting back in here, as PSU already has power claims ready and a pity clam back at spawn. So they have a lot of time here to make something out of this and just hold space. DD looks like they're going for a flank here, which may not be the play as they have a power clam on the field, but PSU is also going to be running back to make sure that they can't push with that, which may give UGA time to get this game back in their favor.
Watch out for that top right side of the screen. If Ash gets out of position, Big Mike has an opportunity to take advantage of it. Ash takes it. Big Mike takes down Ash. Sophie takes down Stinger. Actually, someone takes down Stinger. Sophie goes down as well. That's one player down on both sides. University of Georgia didn't quite get the push they were looking for there. Penn State able to clear that Clam Blitz match. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Penn State making it 4-3 on the play all 7.
It looks like that Aerospray is a very magical pick for Penn State. I definitely think they should keep that in mind for their games in the future.
I always like to justify off-meta comps by saying it would be funny. Now, Golden Aerospray would be funny, theoretically. Like, if I ever had to play that anywhere, my only response is it would be funny. But, I mean, there's a lot they were doing here with that Golden Aerospray. Never mind the fact that they had just about 3,000 mains of special charge. Those 3 mains worked out very well in their favor, and even then, FFA was able to take 1v1s, like, with ease.
Yes, Coastal Squid Surf ran a double Aerospray comp this week on against UGA or against the Squids in Div 2, and that was like a very magical experience. Aerospray is a very magical weapon. I adore it greatly, and seeing it on these comps at this level is such a very fun experience.
Oh, absolutely, and this is why you can't stray away from watching the lower div sets, because like, you see the stuff we saw in Div 4, and then all the other sets in Div 5 and Div 6, they all have their own new levels of creativity, and all this creativity is able to pay off dividends, especially in the case of Penn State, which Penn State was able to do so much with that Golden Aerospray. But again, there's just so much they can do with that level of creativity, and that's something to watch for from all of the divisions. I know Div 1 to Div 6, you're going to see a lot of off-meta picks, and you probably less Azukas, if anything.
Well, I think once we get into Div 1 and Div 2, we start to see a lot more Azuka picks, but once we're on those lower divs, we see a lot of diversity in weapons and a lot of very surprising weapons from players that have experience with those weapons, and we get to see some really fun and interesting comps come out of these teams.
And speaking of fun comps and fun picks, we're going to pass it off to a bit of a highlight reel in a bit, but as that's going to be it from us commentators. I know y'all saw a lot of cool sets today, but we're going to call it a day for now. We're going to have a few more, actually week 5, so a lot of intensity right as we head into the final week of the season. As far as I know, you can find me at Twitch, Twitter/X, and Blue Sky even at Nito Unused, and all of them. And you can also find me grabbing water because, man, I'm thirsty. Chai, where can we find you?
They can find me at Chai_Splat on Twitter. Speaking of, hello Splatoon Tourney, thank you guys for the raid. But yeah, it looks like that's gonna be all for tonight.
Falco finding out that I'm a multitasker. I'm gonna have to run now before Falco finds me. So that's going to be it from us today. Thank you for watching. We're going to head it over to the highlight reel, and also before that, we're also gonna have some Splatoon results coming out for y'all. I think the winner of this Splatfest is
I haven't checked my phone yet, so we'll see here actually.
Actually, Ghost. Okay, no. We're gonna stay for a bit. No. Ghost won the first one.
We have to see this.
Ghost won the first one. Now we're gonna go on to votes.
All right.
We're gonna go on to votes.
I'm pretty sure Ghost won Conch, but we'll see. Yep.
Maybe, probably. They did. Okay.
That wasn't sneak peek, so we knew that result.
Ghost sweep. Oh, so close. Shiver gets absolutely nothing. Fry's so close to getting the first. I think that's the first Splatfest one. I don't know. I haven't been
a very early Frosty Fest miracle. Shiver wins nothing.
Oh man, Shiver is going to have a bad day at the deep cut office. Fry and Big Man though, they at least got some points on the board, but Fry ever so close to that first Splatfest win. Unfortunately, the real winner is not Deep Cut, but the people who played in the Splatfest. I'm kidding, it's Ghost. Ghost wins the Splatfest, baby!
Well, I'm a skeleton, so it's a little bit sad on my end, but honestly, that was a very close Splatfest. We take those.
Of course, we always take those. Remember, the real Splatfest winner is the friends we made along the way.
True.
But that's going to be it for us. We're going to give you a bit of a highlight reel. So lots of fun stuff we saw during the last week. So that's going to be it for us. We'll see y'all next weekend as we look to close out the regular season of the CCA, or the regular session of the CCA League. We'll see y'all next time.
I'm Chai. This is Nito. Have a great night, morning, or afternoon, wherever it may be.
One thing they got to be worried about on this map specifically is that it's very easy to get locked out on this choke specifically. So if you don't have the right specials or use your special at the right time, you just can't really do much. And right now it's only at 25 points remaining, 20 points remaining. Death Roll seems to be knocked out, and that's a wipeout. This could be it. If Samuel Scores doesn't get a special up in time, I think that's his game.
True. Nitro throws out the Booyah Bomb, but it's 3 down.
Oh, it is starting to get very dangerous territory for the Siberian Squids right now. As the heavy hit's down, they have 3 on tower. Death Rollers seem to make this look like another knockout in their favor. As Siberian Squids, they need to get special ready. They need to get their numbers in order. It's a jump for the tower. Can they stop it before it starts marching down? There's only 4 points remaining, and just like that, they knock it out.
Literally a second away from slamming it home for the first checkpoint could be the difference. And again, Siberian Squids just try to push it to the right-hand side each time with their advantages. They are trying to cook up something with that push alone. That's what we saw earlier, trying to go for the left. That might be the biggest difference. And McPherson sneaks the Rainmaker through at least to slam it home. That is still huge. They get a first checkpoint. Yeah, Bubba's going to go up, at least trying to keep this push a little bit more sustained. Now they got some defenses available. Floopy Pop is just going to stand up there. Wish, wash all over the board. They turn this into a quad. The stand-up double, and then fighting 2 more on top of it. The push is completely stalled. Floopy Pop turns this into a 5 into 6 on top. That was 6 from Floopy Pop.
Right now, as they look for a way to even just get the Rainmaker even further here, going from a 54 up into a 41 here, as the Rainmaker is just continuously uncontested with the wall of teammates surrounding it.
Yeah, and the bubble was just a desperation move to make sure the Rainmaker can't build themselves a space. You do take out the Rainmaker finally, but it's 17 points remaining. They're gonna need a miracle effectively because it's a first checkpoint and even 17 points remaining in order to get the lead back. And